We'll get started in a minute. Hopefully the other guests them way forward.
Hello, I'm not hearing. Greetings, family. Give us 1 minute. Having a little bit of technical difficulties. We apologize, but we give thanks for all that are gathered here, who even came early and who plan to stay late. Greetings, Ruth. I believe this is the second one that you have joined us for, and we give thanks for you showing up again. Blessed love. Did anyone have any trouble getting in?
Yeah, I had a little trouble here. I'm come on back and come back again.
Okay. Give thanks. Yeah, that's what um one at least one of the panelists is having. So we're just trying to figure out if we need to take off some settings or redo something. So
Okay.
apologies. Yeah, man, apologies. Give thanks, Raymond.
You're welcome.
One day we're gonna get rid of all of the machine them, you know.
You get 50 Yes, Baba, you saw that? You saw it? Yeah, I sent the text. You want it in the email? You got it? Uh-oh. Hang on for a second. Let me see. Ah, we see you on the screen. Welcome, welcome. All right. I'm hanging up now. Give thanks, Baba Pearson. Apologies for the frustration. Give thanks. All right. Greetings and welcome, Baba Pearson. Diva J, welcome back.
You know, it's been a hustle, but I'm here.
Were you having a hard time getting in?
You know what it was for me? The Eventbrite, and I wanted to go directly to you guys, and so I had to like do like I'll create an account and all that. Yeah, but I'm here.
We give thanks that you made it. That's that because it happened to me too. So we have to figure that out in terms of one of the things that we've been trying to do with these is to prevent the Zoom bombing and that type of a thing. So adding another, layers of security, but sometimes it's becoming it seems as if for this it may be a bit of a barrier to entry for once because it gave me a hard time. I had to create an event and reset the account and all of that too.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're
Yeah,
glad you're
man, I feel
here.
like we'll get rid of the Eventbrite thing out of it.
Okay. Give thanks. Well, you let us know when you're ready to start, Wida.
I sent the direct link I just sent to Baba Pearson.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to Abidan so you can send it to Hiram Bushman. That's probably the same issues they're having. But yeah, we could get ready to start.
Okay. I'm just gonna to anyone. Okay. Whenever you're ready. You ready?
Yeah, can you also just drop it in Arc and everywhere? Give thanks. Come on, feed my life.
This is a public service announcement. Come on, them said it takes 660 gallons of water to produce a 1/3 pound burger. So here, yeah, save a cow life and save the planet. Yeah, yeah. High society love one like them stoosh. When them feet were more carcass than animals in a jungle book. Hear them now? A bird in the hand friend is worth two in the bush. I say keep your butt and give by the bush. You know, see, I tell Pat RasTa cook. Simple man say, nah, run down nothing to go cook. I chat the garden, get I fruits, I say to not people look. One ask for to ask the RasTa or the idol still cook. No smell of burning flesh, where I had choke and choke like fish. The low judge of fish and make them swim. Makes them swim. You know, see how beautiful them look. When I come from the temple with the dead eyes, and the bones to get shook. You see the craving of the flesh, it'll lead many people to an early grave. So when I burn out the meat eating, don't get vexed. People on the life, RasTa try to save. Unless when the farmers are feeding the animals that them are raised nowadays. Them telling our schools that business is business, so unethically some people will do anything that pays. No doctor telling them to look out for prostate cancer, mad cow disease, E. coli. But you know RasTa not lie. I have telling that you are what you eat. So you better feed for life and live. Cause if you keep eating then you will die. And when you doctor side, don't bother cry. You should feed for life and live. If you keep eating, then you will die. And when you doctor side, don't bother cry. You better feed for life and live. If you keep eating, then soon you will die.
Greetings, greetings, greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Jah Rastafari and Empress Menenai. I am Andrea John Baptiste and I welcome you to RasTa, Reggae, and Resistance. Herbs, the healing of the nation. And you just heard a word from our co-host and the founder of RasTa, Reggae, and Resistance, Ras Asafo Wiedemeyer. So this evening, we apologize for the delay. We're trying to be protective in technology, and it seems that it has served as a barrier. But we're going to forward anyway with the reasoning for those that are here, because we have several of our panelists already here. And so we're going to just go and work with the thing. And so I give thanks for those of you who came early and for those that are staying late. So some drumming to set the mood and to give praise.
Give thanks and praise this Mali Bone Tap. This is Little Ganjaro. Love and honor to I families, home and abroad. Yeah, man, we just say health, bless health in abundance, giving thanks in abundance. That's the fire. It's man.
Jah Rastafari, for the motherland, cradle of civilization, for the ancestors and their indomitable spirit, for the elders from whom we can learn much, for the youth who represent our promise for tomorrow, for the people, the original people, for the struggle, and in remembrance of those who struggled on our behalf, for Moja, the principle of unity, which should guide us in all we do, for the Creator who created all things, great and small. I and I do give thanks, O Most High, Jah Rastafari. Aye.
Blessings on blessings and greetings on greetings once again. And so give thanks. And so we want to certainly respect and appreciate those that have gone before us. And with that, we are offering libations in their honor.
Yeah, man, we do give thanks. Yeah, blessed love everyone. How is everyone? Hope all is well with one and all. Yeah, man. Welcome to RasTa, Reggae and Resistance. You know, want to thank all our panelists and all our guests for turning out. Want to thank my co-host for fighting off the illness just to be here in the day. Yeah? Cause this morning she linked me and tell me say she nah feel no well. But see it there, herbs to the rescue. You see it. So yeah, man, once a blessed Earth Day, all citizens of the planet Earth, you know, we do give thanks to life and give thanks to Mama Earth. Yes, I. Andrea.
Isis. Yes. And so as we talk about, Rasta, for those of you who are forwarding for the first time, RasTa, Reggae and Resistance started about a year ago. I believe this is our fourth or fifth staging. As both of us, Asafo Widamaya, who is also a dub poet, director of African Culture School, a member of the media Black Iowa TV, with several radio programs, and having a radio show, a synergy where music, business, and culture synchronize. We both were reasoning about some of the frustrations that we were having with some of the songs and the music that was sent to us all the time. And we started to just reason about, how did reggae come about? And it was rebel music and so on. And and so we were able to connect with the organizers of International Reggae Day and launched the first staging of RasTa, Reggae and Resistance. And we've talked since then. We've used music as a tool because music, as for those of you all know, is certainly another language. And you may not understand the verbals, but you can always feel the beat. You can feel the rhythm of the music. And so using that, we have launched this platform where we utilize music as a framework, particularly reggae music, the music out of Jamaica, aligning it with the liberty, the teachings, the liberty of Rastafari, the teachings of His Majesty and Empress Menen, to get into dialogue with experts, those with great knowledge and insight on various issues. And hence, today for Earth Day, 2 days ago, we celebrated 420, the National Weed Day. And we thought, you know what? Rasta is not just about the herb, the weed, the ganja. It is also about the liberty of herbal liberty. And so we wanted to be sure that we paid homage to Mama Earth, as well as recognizing all that she has brought forth for us. And so tonight we have a very esteemed panel, and we're still waiting for ones to forward, but we're going to go ahead with those that are here. We have Keith of Keith Magazine, which is a magazine dedicated to all things ganja coming out of Jamaica. Great journalism. It's not just big pictures and so on, but interviews with herbalists, interviews with growers, and just great, great, great journalism as it surrounds ganja, particularly in Jamaica and across the world. We have our elder of the night, Baba Pearson, who is also my neighbor, because he lives here in South Florida. And Baba he is a holistic teacher, a yogi, vegan, live raw food chef, and just, I think most importantly, at least for me, love his food, but also his knowledge and wisdom and understanding of eating healthy and utilizing the herbs for medicine, letting your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. So welcome, Baba Pearson. We also have with us my favorite panelist so far. Well, he's going to be my favorite panelist for the whole night, right? And why you say that? How could you say that? Well, he's near and dear to my heart because he's also my brother, Dominic McDowell. We call him the ganjapreneur, the herbsman of the family. And he helps with ensuring that ones get their licenses, if you're looking at licensure in Jamaica, but also provides a variety of education on ganja, the benefits, the uses, as well as information from around the Caribbean. So welcome, Dominic, and we give thanks for your time this evening as well. We also will do some cooking demonstrations through Mel's Tree Eats. And you know what I found out about a week ago? That edibles are illegal in Jamaica. Who knew? I never knew. However, one of the things that that Mel's is well known for, of course, her wonderful edibles, but also she's apparently won several awards in Jamaica for edibles for a thing that is still illegal. So you know the thing, shocking. It sell off and it's good because she's getting awards where it is considered illegal. So we give thanks for her strength as well. And what I'm going to ask is, for once, as we go through the dialogue and the conversation, please feel free to put your questions and your comments in the chat. We would also use them to ensure that the panelists are able to answer them. Now is a good time for good, solid reasoning and questions. So let us go ahead and get started. We're going to do this in two parts. Part one, we're going to talk a little bit about Mother Earth, again, in celebration and recognition of Earth Day today. We're going to reason about pharmacology, not the PHA, but the FAR macology, because that's what we're all about. So my first question is going to go to Baba Pearson. Baba, we thank you again for being a part of the conversation. And I'm going to ask, what is the difference between ITAL, veganism, vegetarianism? Is there a difference?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Vegetarian has been around before vegan. Vegetarian is in a category of no form of meat, fish, flying, walking, swimming, crawling. Vegetarian is in a category of everything that is a form of a vegetable, a fruit, a nut, or a seed, things in that category. And vegetarian back in those days was cooked also. So even though it's meatless and doesn't have any eggs and butter and cheese and all of those things, because those things are not vegetarian foods. And so, but at the same time, back in the days, one of my teachers, Dr. Ignatius from Jamaica, they were vegetarians, but they were cooking the food, and to the extent of cooking food, especially greens, they was destroying the nutritional value of it. And then the process of vegan, and then the Europeans come with a lot of different terminologies where you can still be vegetarian or pescatarian and all these different types of, so that's a little bit too complicated for me because I'm a tropical person. So I stick to a tropical type of vegetarian food or vegan food, if you want to put in that category. So vegan is also similar to a vegetarian. But back in the days, they were starting to bring out what you call gluten and tofu and those things. And Archer Daniels, one of the company that was producing that, the soybean that they produce is not a soybean that was available to us going back 50, 100 years ago. So the soybean now is somewhat modified, probably Monsanto or Ciba-Geigy or Dow Chemicals, one of them. And it's being produced primarily a lot also in Brazil. And so they're taking the tofu and they're making all kinds of fake chicken, fake fish, fake this. And people are selling that as a alternative or to some other form of meat. And people are buying that. Though those things have a lot of different side effects and precursors. So you got to be very careful. So I do not suggest any meat substitute. There's no, if you want to eat meat, eat meat. If you want to eat eggs, eat eggs. If you want to eat cheese, eat your cheese. But I don't believe in the substitute or fake chicken or fake fish or fake shrimps and all that stuff. That's ridiculous to me. So those are just my thoughts. So if you want to do vegan, I would suggest if you're from the tropics, because I deal with the northern.
I think we lost you for a second there, Baba.
Yeah, go forward to ID with the
Those different environments. So I just suggest that people eat
Baba
food
Pearson.
that way they grow from in those areas. Can you hear me?
Sound the drop out.
Yes, it just
go back
that.
to I deal with the modern or northern. Yeah, there, so the sound drop.
I'm not hearing you.
Your sound cut out when you said I deal with the northern.
Yeah, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us come from the southern hemisphere, and we most of us leave and come to the northern hemisphere, which is primarily colder, and the different climates. There's a difference in what food grows in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And so what happened now is that we leave and come here, and then we start to eat differently than we were eating when we were back in the southern hemisphere, like in the islands, for instance, where it's more tropical and equatorial. And so we can, expound and elaborate more on vegetarianism and veganism, but I don't suggest in those categories you should be doing any tofu or gluten products. You should do primarily just fresh food, fresh vegetable, raw nuts and raw seeds. And then we can elaborate later on also on the 4-season project that we created over here for our people to live more in harmony and balance what the ecosystem provides for us in the 4 seasons.
That is, give thanks for that, Baba Pearson. And so, how long have you been vegan, and what made you make that choice in terms of lifestyle?
There was no impediments. There was no imbalances. There was nothing going on with my physical body, my mental, emotional, spiritual body. I was just truly blessed to do this. Dealing with Rastafari, the energy of His Majesty, Empress Mene, and dealing with the brethren and sisters in Brooklyn with Rastafari, and dealing with African people culture at the slave theater, meeting people like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Wilson, and Smalls, and Jeffries, and all those people, Carruthers, so many, and then dealing with Dr. Ignatius, dealing with Rashan, dealing with Jawara Blake, dealing with Dr. Africa, Dr. Ando, Dr. Davidson, Dr. Chisel, Dr. Jules Pukram, and all those people, Phil Valentine, Queen of Four, Dr. Love, all of them. Then they taught me about Dr. Moore also. So he's been around, he's one of the forerunners, Dr. Moore. And they even give me some of his cassette tapes to listen to. And so I was really, it just happened, my sister. What I'm doing, it was like predestined, it was planned for me. My mother and my family in Guyana, I was going to go into engineering and stuff. I was doing a lot of things doing with steam engineering and boilers, compressors, sand filters, working at a brewery, working at Nabisco Lifesavers, and running big, massive boilers and air compressors and air conditioning systems. So I was just fixing the food at home and giving it to my friends, having parties and fixing food. And they always want to know who fixed the food. They didn't believe I fixed the food. I used to prep the food the way my mother used to teach us how to fix the food, because we were all gophers. Go for this, go for that, pick this in the yard, go to the market, pick that up. And so I was doing the food naturally because I left my mother and went and worked with the army. And back in Guyana, back in those days, was the British Army. They were there because we had a big riot in Guyana. And so they came supposed to rescue us from ourselves. So I was working up there. So I had to prep my food from like 16, 17 myself. So I was my own chief cook and bottle washer working for the British Army. And so then I came to America, and then I met all these beautiful people. And then I met Aris Letem. He was one of my raw food teachers. He's actually the main raw food teacher. And I just took all of the things that all those people have taught me, and I take it to the next level. And like His Majesty always wanted to do is to serve each other, serve the people. And that's my mission every day, every rising is what good work can I do? How can I serve our people? How can I help our people? And to help them and not get caught up, just stay detached from them. So when the student is ready, the master will appear. So I'm here to do the work for our people, to help our people as much as I can, as long as I'm on this earth. And just like Dr. Africa and Dr. Sabi and all those brothers and sisters, Dr. Davidson, they all left. So we are going to leave, but we should not forget them, and we should continue to hold on to their wisdom and their teachings and continue to teach ourselves so we can become the new teachers, because we need a lot more vegan chefs, herbalists, naturopathic doctors, massage therapists, holistic teachers in our society. I mean, like locally and globally. So I was really cool doing this. I had no issues. I had no sexual issues, no prostate issues, no high blood pressure issues, no diabetic issues. I wasn't overweight. I wasn't constipated. But living in New York once in a while, I was constipated, and then I used to get a cold or a fever or a flu in the wintertime. And because I used to eat some crazy food down there, sometimes a pint of ice cream at nights. So it is what it is. I'm a different person now, and I'm doing great works. My last 3 children, no one was ever sick for 18 years going to school. Never stayed home one day from school. I'm writing on that too. Never stayed home one day from school, was never sick. 18 years, the last 3 children, no cold, no fever, no flu. And so we was putting everything in the blender. Our baby food was in the blender. So if there's anything more you want to elaborate on, I can.
We give thanks for that. Very much. You just shared something and it made me laugh because New York, I was spent a month there the other day and I couldn't get all of what I wanted, all my fresh fruits and vegetables. And I found myself constipated. I'd not had that experience. Too much information, I don't know, but we're reasoning. And so that just tickled me because I couldn't wait to get home so that I could get everything, go to market and things of that nature. So I give thanks for that sharing, Baba Pearson. So I want to move over to Jamaica for a little bit. I'm going to ask Keith, because I know, Keith, that you deal with ganja, but you also, you're a Rasta man living a herbal life. And so what are some of the more prevalent kind of natural cures and bushes and things that you see are in use and in play every day or relatively frequently in your lifestyle?
Greetings. Well, it all starts, well, for me personally, it all starts at the beginning of the day, with whichever tea that I drink, right? So, for me outside, I have certain bush, for example, lemongrass or fever grass. I probably pick some guava leaf to be pot as well. So source of leaf or something like that. So it all starts for me at the beginning of the day with my cup of tea. And from my cup of tea, I transfer into my day. So for example, we have, if I'm having like an upset stomach, we have the leaf of life, we chew on the leaf of life, and whatever is there, that there's only one way that's going to go, and that's up. So there, you have certain things depending on what I'm going through, but it's a holistic living for me. I cook with it as well, even in steaming. As I am a ganja man as well, even in steaming the herb, while I'm using a steamer, I flavor it. So we probably put like some broadleaf, mint, rosemary, or something like that. Change the essence of it, and each herb that you add to the flavor of your steamer is actually it's the essence of that said leaf that you're inhaling as well. So just like how you probably go there and get something that is made from the fever grass or anything like that, you're basically extracting it in the same way that you're extracting the THC from the ganja. So you're basically inhaling it holistically.
Hmm. And what's your favorite flavor? Just cause I'm fast.
Well, I personally I like rosemary and I like the broadleaf mint. I personally.
Hmm. We give thanks, and we see Sister Mel of Mel's Tree Eats has just entered the room. And so, Sister Mel, greetings, 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 and welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. I just popped in because I'm actually putting my daughter to sleep. So I said, let me just hop in and, just say hi to everybody.
Hi,
And,
everybody. We give thanks for the pop in, and we can't wait to see the cooking demonstration in a little bit. But greetings and bless up. And so, Dominic, let's talk a little bit about in terms of as you work with a lot of ganja, give us a little overview in terms of some of the benefits and how it connects to our endocannabinoid system. First of all, give us a little overview of the endocannabinoid system and the benefits of that particular herb on our body.
All right. So, greetings, everybody. As it relates to the endocannabinoid system, so the human body is made of two receptor systems that control your nerves, it controls how your body reacts, and the endocannabinoid system actually helps to regulate your mood, helps to regulate how your body processes pain, feelings, and even your thoughts. Um, that high that you get from a 3 mile jog, where your body is pumping, but you feel that energy. It secretes a certain compound that's known as anandamide that's naturally produced by your body. And what happens is your body doesn't produce enough of that. Now, ganja, the chemical compounds in ganja are called cannabinoids. So that's one of the main group of chemical compounds found in ganja, which also has terpenes and flavonoids. And terpenes is what gives it smell, flavonoids give it flavor. And these terpenes and flavonoids are also found in other plants. So, mangoes, lavender, citrus, um, are some of the more common ones that you'd find. Similar terpenes in ganja, you find them in some of those flowers, some of those fruits. And these things have a very positive effect on the human body. So the endocannabinoid system acts as pretty much like a lock, and the chemical compounds found in ganja, both the cannabinoids, THC, CBD, CBN, CBG, all these chemical compounds act as the key. And so when they interact with your body, it gives your body certain nutrients that your body is not able to produce naturally on its own. And it's part of the reason why ganja as a herb is so effective in treating pain and for treating nausea, um, handling your mood, it helps you with insomnia. There's so many very different uses that it can be applied to, and it's part of the reason why people fight against it so much because they don't understand it. And it's also a part of the reason why people fight for it so much, because they do understand it. And as with everything that you see on this earth, um, people will fight it if they don't understand it. People will champion it because they do understand it. In all things, it's all about moderation. The same way we drink fever grass and leaf for life and soursop tea. If we drink too much soursop tea, it makes it drowsy because there are chemicals in the leaf that produce that effect on the human body. Same thing with ganja. Is a matter of understanding the plant, understanding different strains, and understanding how the impact can affect your body, and using them in the right way, whether you steam it, you smoke it, you use it as edibles. There are some methods of delivery that are better for other people. Um, some people can only smoke it, some people can only consume it as edible, some people prefer to steam it. Each of these provide similar effects in terms of the medicinal and wellness benefits, um, but they also act differently. So edibles, as Mel will tell you, um, has a different processing time in the body. It takes a different length of time to kick in. And for those of you who are familiar with steaming versus smoking, it's two totally different kind of experiences as well, regardless of whether or not you're smoking or steaming the same strain. So it's a very interesting thing. It's a very positive thing. There are certain, for me personally, I love sativa strain because they open my mind and allow me to think creatively and sometimes help me focus. And sometimes just give me a boost of energy where you only get from drinking a cup of coffee or one of them things. So there are various benefits, some of which would require a totally different kind of conversation to explore how far reaching those things can be. Yeah.
We give thanks, Mr. Ganja High Commissioner, for that reasoning. And I'm going to go back to Keith, because Keith, you said that you are a steamer, and Dominic just went ahead and talked a little bit about smoking versus steaming. And I'm going to ask to just weigh in on that and tell us the difference as a steamer.
All right, so the main difference between steaming and smoking the herb is that when you steam the herb, no harm whatsoever is done to the body, as opposed to when you smoke it, you have to cut it up and then you put fire to it, which you're actually burning it and everything. And when you're steaming it, it's basically the most natural form of bake, or one of the natural remedies of bake, right? So if you don't know the process involved, most cases, coconut, right? Connect filled with water or filled 3/4 of the way with water. Inside the coconut now, they normally have a bamboo attachment that works like a straw, or a straw per se. And on top of that now we have the crutchy, which is typically made of clay. Inside the crutchy, we have what is called a gritty, which is also typically made of clay. The purpose of the gritty is actually to separate the coal from the bud itself. The gritty is normally filled with holes so that the heat from the coal, which is typically made of either everyone hearing?
We're hearing you now. Mm-hmm. Kochi, Gritty. Did we lose him? Uh-oh.
Him still here, but me not see no activity.
Okay. All right. So, Doms, if you want to
Yeah.
just pick up first. Oh, Keith, you back. Give thanks.
He's back.
Kochi, you said Kochi, Gritty.
Looks like I'm probably experiencing some technical difficulties, but
All right, Dom. So yes, please, if you want to just continue and fill us in on the kochi de gritty process of steaming for ones who may not be familiar.
And then you put some coconut shell, and you put some fire to the coconut shell up top. Go on, describe the process till Keith come forward.
Well, it's good to know that we have multiple steamers here who can explain for those. Dominic actually got kicked off. So to explain the process for those who may not be familiar with steaming. Steaming is relatively new to me in the last 5 or so years. So yes, Wida, please.
Yeah, man, but yeah, the fire, the gritty separates the fire from the herb, like Keith did I say. So then when you light the coal now, when you pull through the straw, as them call it, the heat passes through the herb. So instead of the herb is on fire, the heat passes through it, and then the essence of the herb now comes through. I guess them call it vaping. When them use them machine to do it, but it's a similar process, you know. So you get the essence, but like Mel say, you protect the herb, you know, protecting the herb. You not burn the herb. You just, yeah. Keith, you there?
It looks like we probably get Jeff off. Same thing I reached me a while ago. Who kicked me off.
Yeah, we give thanks. Oh, he's back. Looks like he's back. Okay, so I want to, go back to, so we talked a little bit about the ganja, and I wanted to just bring that in here. But as we talk about pharmacology, and the herbs, the natural herbs, pharma begat pharma. Pharma begat Pharma. And so, Baba Pearson, you talked about the various practitioners and so on, but could you talk to us a little bit about how some of these medicines even became and came forward into what we know now as these pills and so on, the synthetics and so on? Could you speak a little bit to that?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, the Rockefellers, they were the robber barons and the oil barons, and they had a lot of excess oil, and processing the oil like you processing the molasses, the sugar you make molasses, you get a residual, they call it blackstrap molasses, but that's the waste part of the residual from the molasses and the cane when they're making the molasses. So from the oil, they have the residual. So what they did, they decided to create the big pharma, pharmaceuticals, synthetic version of the real thing, because all the oils is that we call like synthetic. They're not organic, they're not original in the sense because they're processed. They use a lot of chemicals to process them. And so to get the gasoline and the diesel fuel and the different, and now you get plastic bags and you get tablets, you get all kinds of things from them, you get drugs from them. And so what happened is that the Rockefellers created that system where they can generate and earn more money. It was all about money for them to start using the byproduct of the oil to do different things with. And so you have the big Rockefeller Center. You can go and Google who started the pharmaceutical companies, and when it was started, it was done by the Rockefellers. And so what happened before that, in America, everything was naturopathic, everything was holistic. And so there was no drugs being used. They might call some of the people that go around and snake medicine and talking about health and well-being in a different aspects, but the indigenous people in America, everything that they do for holistic and natural living came from the earth and from the different medicines they themselves have created. And just like the Africans that was here before Columbus or the so-called indigenous people, they also created their own medicines and herbal remedies and tonics. And during the process of our people coming here and also going through the process of incarceration and sold into slavery, those were the people that was also, especially our women. You got to big up the women also. Just like how we have to big up Empress Many, we have to big up all our women, because especially those are the ones that struggle and give up their lives and the energies and the strength to take care of our children and take care of each other throughout the whole island. I don't like saying Caribbean or the West Indies because those are misnomers. So what I feel is that our people have to start recognizing the women were the ones that was taking care of the medicine and making the food and the drinks and stuff and feeding our people in the fields, because we in the fields from sun up to sundown for 400 plus years. And what happened is that we had to use our God-given gifts and talents so we can do what we have to do to maintain and sustain ourselves. So we were already being vegans working in the fields. We were already being vegetarians working in the fields because there was not much meat to eat. There wasn't much cows around back in those days. And there was not a lot of animals around to be killing for to get food from the animal kingdom. So we were primarily vegetarians, or probably eating some fish here and there. Those of us was living close to the ocean or to the rivers or the lakes. But those of us were living like inland. Those of us was eating primarily fresh fruit, fresh vegetable, raw nuts and raw seeds, and then primarily the elders in the islands, people like from St. Vincent and St. Lucia and Virgin Islands and Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, all the islands, all the different islands where our people were living. We were eating a lot of ground provision. And those things were already there before the Europeans came also. The avocado was already there, and all kinds of different fruits and berries was already there when they came. So they brought things like the breadfruit, which is a good fruit to eat. And so we were there and we was doing the work. And so we created a way. And so what happened after we created a way out of nowhere, like how they say we would do for them, so our people eventually, for whatever reason, after World War I, World War II, when the Europeans start producing different types of foods, what happens is that our parents and our grandparents fall in line. Because I spoke to some of the elders that was emancipated in Guyana, and those elders told me that all they ate was fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, raw nuts and raw seeds, and ground provision. And so now the farmer came in, and so our people from Jamaica all the way to what you call the South of America, where our people had to take care of themselves and do for themselves. Those people, Virgin Islands, yeah, VI, big up, yes, the family, local and global family. We all one, local and global. And so what happened is that for some reason, like my parents, they hail from St. Vincent, Barbados, Guyana, and then they came to North America. So what happened is that they switch up anytime after around World War I, World War II, and they start giving up their natural food and drinks and start eating the Western foods that was exported to the islands. So those foods, when they were exporting those foods, we call those foods the white people food, the white people's disease, white people's sickness. And so anybody start to get water is like issues with the bladder, issues with the prostate, they call it water. And then they call it sugar for the diabetic conditions, the pancreas, and so on and so forth. And then there were natural remedies we would use, but then they started bringing the pharmaceuticals, the chemical medicine. And so what happened, the petrochemical medicine, and our people start switching up. And so that's a big concern of mine today. And they have those of us that are in our 50s, 60s, and 70s, for some reason, we seem to rather to go and to the drugstore, whichever drugstore or pharmacies, whatever you want to call those places that are selling those drugs. It seems though we prefer to go and use those drugs than to use the old-time remedies, the back-home remedies, the natural remedies that we were using for hundreds of years. And we got to recognize that these things that are of the natural remedies is part of our culture. And so the pharmaceutical system, the allopathic system, they have evolved, and today they're doing things by they capturing the essence of the natural plants and making a synthetic version of it, and they call it intellectual property rights, so they can use it to generate money from it. And so that is something that our people have to be cognizant and conscious of, because today most of our people, what they're actually doing is that they're allowing the government to tell them that they are compromised and have underlying issues. And the only reason those things can happen is because the World Health Organization, PAHO, Pan-African Health Organization, CARICOM, and European Health Organization and America CDC, Center for Disease Control, they all are saying the same thing, that why these things are happening to us, because we switched up from eating the natural food, the natural chocolate and the natural yams and eddos and dashes and sweet potatoes and okras and callaloo. And all these things are all rich in minerals and vitamins that our body needs, especially in the islands when we weren't using a lot of chemicals. So the chemicals are destroying the topsoil 3 to 4 feet down, and the food that we planting today don't have the necessary minerals inside of them. And so we're eating all the synthetic foods, the fast food. We have evolved into our junk food junkies. And so we're getting all kinds of issues. So the government is calling it underlying issues and compromise issues. And these things are called CNCDs and CDs. Anybody can check what CNCDs are and CDs are. This is all itis, inflammation, and everybody's getting it. And so everybody's running to the doctor. And these are the same people that are telling us that we have underlying issues and compromise issues right now in this COVID time. But we are still running to the supermarket and to these so-called West Indian restaurants and eating the food that they are providing for us that we call food that's not food, that is making us sick.
Powerful words by Baba Pearson. Baba, so thank you for that, because I want to share something and then I want to ask a couple of questions. So we just started off by saying that, yes, this morning I texted him and said I wasn't feeling that great. And it's true. I felt achy. I felt like I had some chills and my nose was stuffing. I'm like, what's going on? And everybody in my house knows. They call and they say, or my youths that live out of town will say, Mom, you got to send me some more ginger or whatever, because I'm running low on the potion. And the potion, which knocks out any of those symptoms, is just simply honey, garlic, turmeric, ginger, and I put anise in it now, lemon and cayenne pepper. And we keep a jar of that in the fridge. And as soon as anybody have a feeling, a tickle in the throat, we start to drink it. And over 3 years since I've had any major health issues, since I've discovered that potion. So healing of the nation, the herbs, the herbs, the herbs, the herbs. So let me ask you this with that. Are there any, the last thing I wanted to share, I read an article to speak to what you just said, that said that we no longer eat food, but we eat food-like products. There was, the study showed that over 30 years, they took an heirloom tomato, and I guess it was a longitudinal study, scientists, I can't remember where, but they took an heirloom tomato, and at 15 years later, they looked at the nutrients from 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, the nutrients in that tomato, and it had however much percentage of vitamin C and blah, 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 blah. 15 years later, it was less than half of what it had 15 years before. And in current day, now this is about 5 years ago, so probably 10 years later, it had something like even less than half of that half, so less than quarter. And the line that stuck out to me in that article was, we are no longer eating food, we're eating food-like products. So with that said, I want to ask you again, Baba, are there any ailments or diseases, in your opinion or in your experience, that cannot be combated or quelled or prevented by herbs?
Every sickness and disease is not being combated, or it's not going to be healed by herbs, it's going to be healed by your mind. Those foods that you mentioned, those foods are the synthetic version of the real thing. The foods that we're eating today, as you mentioned, the doctors, the scientists have been checking these things out, and they don't have the same nutritional value as 30 years ago. And that is because the topsoil has been depleted of the macro and trace minerals, because of the herbicides and the pesticide they're using is depleting the topsoil throughout the farmland, and the wind is blowing away the soil because the soil is becoming like sand, and the wind is blowing it away because of the chemicals on the earth, in the soil. and it's losing nutritional value because of the chemicals. It's destroying the topsoil, and the food that grows at least a foot down or 2 feet down, like fruits, not so much fruits, like vegetables, like let's say like cucumbers and things of that, right? Broccoli, they have to go down a couple of, at least a foot or two. And so they don't have enough nutrition in the soil because there's a lot of farming going on. There's a lot of Monsanto, CBGI, Dow chemicals. They're using a lot of chemicals to grow the food. So the food don't have the nutritional value. So a lot of people don't have things in like valerium inside it. They don't have chromium inside it. They don't have enough calcium, magnesium, trace minerals, macro minerals. They don't have selenium. They don't have zinc in the food. So what's happening that we have to supplement, and they have to buy quality supplements. We have no other choice. And these same systems have been exported throughout the islands where our people are living. South America, Central America, and even in Africa, a lot of the farmers in the islands are using chemicals. Right here in some of the gardens here where they grow the callaloo, some of the farmers are using chemicals. I saw them myself. And so our people should really sit down and think about what you just mentioned about the value and the quality and the nutritional value of the food, and they should be seriously looking into supplement. And they can always check me anytime, call me, and we can talk. But don't call me tonight. Call me in a day or two. I don't want a whole lot of people call me all at one time. So y'all can call me, and we can talk. I can share as much as I can. We have every month we have a farmers market down here. We can be promoting that, and that's going to be coming this Sunday. And we're going to be sharing a lot of information about the 4-season project, Eat Within the Season. And we're going to also be doing every 3 months, the 4-season project is becoming in the summer. And so like right now, we're just planning to do this marketplace to bring positive information, positive food, and information that's provided by our people. All the products that we want our people to bring to the market has to be produced and manufactured by our people only. And so if you want me to elaborate more on foods and the value of foods and all of that, we can do that too.
So I want to ask both Keith and Dominic, and I'm going to ask Dominic to weigh in first on give thanks, Baba, with regards to the soil in Jamaica. Are we seeing a lot of the same thing in the Caribbean in terms of the lack of nutrients and the use of high uses of pesticides?
Within the Ganja community in Jamaica, we have growers who use different tactics. So you have people who have fertilizer standards, which is usually more the chemical related stuff. And as a Ganja consumer, you hear people talk about hydro. Hydro means it's a water-based growth medium, and usually you have to use fertilizers and nutrients, which are maybe about 90% of the time non-organic and synthetic substances. And food, and ganja in particular, is what you put in is what you're going to get out. So the more synthetic chemicals you're putting into the plant, yeah, you might get a high THC yield and all of that, but the plant is like, just like how with the human body, if you feed it steroids and certain things, it's going to have a negative impact. When you feed ganja plants to synthetic substances, it produces high THC, but it reduces the amount of CBD and the terpenes and flavonoids. And when you end up with that in a situation that is this over exaggerated psychoactive effect, right? And so, you see it in the States because you have a lot of those hydro-grown, chemically grown products. You see it out here, not as much with hydro, but you see it on the farms. A lot of these, the tomato and the green pepper and the pepper that we're eating is fertilizer, is synthetic fertilizers. Out here, you have people who grow organic, right? And then I know within the ganja and specifically the RasTa community, you have ITAL growing, which is separate and apart from organic, right? And what you find happening is that some of these things are actually better for the earth, you know, as we are talking about Mother Earth, because when you start to use things that are coming from the earth and you understand the chemistry behind it, because everything, human beings, plants, we're all, you know, a matter of particles. It's chemistry. We all are a part of chemistry. And you give back to the earth, you know. You can use banana full of potassium for the human body. Potassium and phosphorus is also something that the plants like as well. You know, that's what produces the buds. The plants like calcium. You know, if you're familiar with anything with ganja, you probably get ganja sometime and it feels soft, and then sometimes you get some buds tough like rock stone. It's a calcium, right? And it's something that plants actually thrive on. And it produces and allows the plants to produce certain other chemicals in a better ratio and substance. So just like Baba Pearson said, really and truly, we have to start being more conscious of what we're putting into our body. And in the same way, we have to be more conscious of the food that we're eating and conscious of what is going into the food. In other words, what is the food being fed? Because ultimately, whatever the food is being fed is the same thing we are being fed. Might not be in the same concentration, but over time, if you are consuming synthetic tomatoes fed with synthetic nutrients, it's going to have a negative impact on the human body because there will always be some residue from those synthetic substances left in the plant and in the food. So, you know, as we consume, we have to be aware of what we're consuming and what it is consuming as well. Garbage in, garbage out.
Good word. We give thanks. Keith, you want to weigh in on any of that?
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with what Dominique said, and I can speak from a personal experience. I grew up in the country, you know. So my dad is actually a farmer, been farming from ever since. And over the process of the years that I've watched him farm, I realized a few trends that he does. One thing is that as regards to soil, he never uses the same patch of land to plant the same crop over a specific period of time. So what he does is he allows the soil to breathe, as he would say. Now, in that process of breathing, what he does is he basically uses that entire patch of land as a compost. So whatever we take from the kitchen, whatever fruits, whatever droppings, anything like that comes from the kitchen organically, we basically used to just pack that in a bucket, seal it off. So when we go into the farm, we basically have like 3-4 big buckets going to the farmers. We get those from, you know, it's we're living in the country, so you know it's all family in houses nearby. So whatever comes from any one of those basically goes in there. So we basically would let that patch of land like sit there for anywhere between 6 to 8 months, and during that time period, we basically input the compost in that patch of land. Now, what I realized also is that even though we're putting in the compost in that patch of land, we can't use that patch of land same time because they're believe it or not, there are still harmful chemicals in there that if you are supposed to plant a seed in that patch of land right there, the fumes would actually damage the seed as opposed to give life to the seed. So even though we do that, we basically give it the next couple months. Once that's done, we basically start the planting process over. So for me personally, watching my father farm, I never really, well, obviously I couldn't test it, but I want to say that there would have been a decline in the nutrients based on his method of farming and based on his method of rejuvenating the soil. I've never seen him go on to the supermarket and bought synthetic fertilizers or anything like that. And we have always had a bountiful food, right? We have always had something to go to the market. We have to give, you know, blessings and prosperity, same way, give thanks. But yeah, fast forward now into my little research and studies here dealing with ganja. I mean, I've seen a lot of different processes and a lot of different farms and a lot of different farmers process of how they plant their herb. As it regards to hydro, as Dominic said, hydro is basically whosoever is growing the plant, they are basically feeding the plant whatever nutrients. So, for example, if that person don't really have an understanding of nutrients and balancing the nutrients and all of that, at the end of the day, you're going to get something that if you smoke it, you're probably going to get swollen throat, you're going to get a terrible headache, you're getting itch forever and all that. And come on, that's what we don't want. That is actually what we are not trying to get, right? So I personally, I wouldn't say that I am 100% in favor of the hydroponic process. However, it's a process that once whoever is doing it knows what they're doing chemical wise, physics and all of that, from them have the chemistry down, I would probably take a chance to see what they have to bring to the table. Again, hydro is a tricky topic for me as it regards to nutrients. Everything there is synthetic. Now, I've also seen farmers who buy a lot of synthetic fertilizers, both the fast release ones and the ones that are not fast release. Fast release meaning like the liquid ones that they basically put in the water, dissolve it, or throw it at the plant root, and the plant absorb it, and nutrients for the fruit. The ones that are not so easy to absorb, they are basically like small pockets that they basically put into the soil, and over a period of 3 to 4 weeks, it gradually dissolves in the soil and all that. Now that can have a long-term effect on the plant that is not good, because you can have what is called nutrients build up and block up that can be very harmful to the plant if you do that. All right, so that's not, again, I have seen a lot of farmers use that process. I have smoked a lot of buds that was grown with that process, to be honest, and it's a mixed reaction for me. You can see the level of knowledge when it goes on to who grows the bud as well. Balance is one thing, right? So I have smoked buds already where literally I took one puff and my throat is like itching, and ultimately I know that there's something right here. So I know that the chemical they use, because believe it or not, even when they use synthetic chemicals, when you smoke the bud has certain specific taste and certain feel where you can know that there's too much nitrogen in this plant. This plant needs some more calcium. The plant here needs some potassium. So when you smoke the bud, you can actually taste certain telltales to say that this is what's wrong, or this is good, or that is not good. Now, on the same spectrum, on the opposite side of smoke bud, where it's good, the farmer that grew it actually used synthetic chemicals, and the hit was fine. Right, so it's a balancing act, in my opinion. Right. I've also gone and dealt with farmers who use a combination of different soils. So, for example, they'll use koopy, they'll use some river soil, they'll probably use some red dirt, they mix them in. So, and that's that's a completely different grow process as well. Then now, as it regards to that specific farmer, I've seen where, for example, even rooting solutions that a lot of persons buy online, you can use something as simple as an aloe vera, or honey, right? Those are excellent rooting solutions that people don't know. It's right there in their kitchen, right in their backyard, as opposed to going online and buying chemicals that at the end of the day, it's affecting your body in a negative way.
Let me just ask you to explain what a rooting solution is for ones that may not be familiar.
All right, so what a rooting solution is, it comes in play when you're taking clones or cuttings from a mother plant. So what you basically do is once you cut it, it basically helps to generate fresh roots on the newly cutted stem from the mother plant. So that's what Rooting Solution does. It's like an immune booster for the roots.
Give thanks.
So no problem. So that specific farmer, his process is strictly natural. As you can see, his soil, there's no additives to it. Whatever additives is added to the soil is from a compost that he has that is tightly sealed up in his backyard. That's what he has to it. After each grow process or after each grow season, all the dirt basically gets unpacked on a big canvas, get remixed, get re-nutrients, get re-oxygenated, and then gets packed back again for whichever cuttings is ready to be placed in it for the new growth cycle to begin. So again, for me, I'm not saying that there's no good way or no bad way to do it. In my opinion, it's about knowing what you're doing, knowing how to do what you're doing, and it's also a balancing act.
Mm-hmm. Good word from Keith Magazine. And so I want to welcome First Man of Rastafari Indigenous Village. Greetings and welcome, First Man. We give thanks for you forwarding here tonight.
Yeah, blessings. How are you all doing? Rastafari family, give thanks and praises every time for reasoning and sharing.
Thanks. So First Man, let me ask you, Rastafari, tell us about, for those who may not be familiar with the Rastafari Indigenous Village, what it is and how it fits into this herbal discussion and what is going on there that is facilitating as well as promoting the natural livity.
Okay. All right. So again, blessings. Rastafari Indigenous Village is a process that we have started probably about 20 years ago when there's a group of my family members. The word indigenous was the focal word in that conversation. We're the ones who just connected more to nature, to the way of life concept of Rastafari. And as a result of that, we, everything about, from the clothing we wore to, just how we ate, closer to what they would call a bird ample, so a lot of our food at that time, most of us were eating live food and thing until we got to more a live percentage of food. But what we were finding out was that, we still had to be sending our children out into the Babylon school. We still found ourselves, working for people, even though we had our own self-sustainable resources, so started to look at it and consider it and started to look at templates that exist within the Rastafari community. Of course, there's a Bobo Shanti that, that's right. There's a School of Vision. They weren't as much there at the time. However, we went straight to Pinnacle, which we thought was the first Rasta village. And, it came with that Marcus Garvey principle, and self-sustainability, taking care of your own. And I remember a presentation that was done, I think, by Professor Knife. And he said that after Pinnacle was destroyed, there was the equivalent of 2,000 pounds in every household, which would be at the value of the time about 2 million Jamaican dollars, if you prorate it. So it showed that way of life includes spirituality, economics, social, and so on and so forth. So we just thought that, and that was still a repatriation mission, still a mission of going back to Africa. So we looked at that one instead of the others which don't plant a coconut tree while they are here in Jamaica. We thought to ourselves that this was also a strong repatriation step, in the sense that we wouldn't go to Africa without being rehearsed, into what our way of life could look like, and that we would bring something to the table. So that process started, and we literally do nothing more than Rastafari. So when you step into our space, this depending on which angle, because we use we use the back gate as a front gate and the front gate as a back gate. It's just one Rastafari, you know. So depending on which gate you come through, you're going to either meet our drum maker, and very next door to that drum maker, there's a herbal garden there with about 90 different species of herb. And if you probably count just like the naseberry trees and the guava trees and the ackee trees and the basila bark trees, you'll get probably more than 100 different herbs that are in that particular space that have been preserved for. I mean, like our Search Me Heart tree has been there for, I planted that Search Me Heart tree 15 years ago, and it is the same root that is there right now, you know, and that's a herb that is indigenous and endemic to Jamaica. So if you continue a little further down, we have our wellness garden, and this is a space where we preserve all our natural traditional herbs. We make them into steams and baths, and you know, and that's where our naturopath would work, and any kind of a massage, and just a space for healing and so on. You know, whenever we do our daily ceremonies and so on, that's a space that we go to. Then just in front of that space, we have our sacred. I mean, the entire space is a sacred space, but we do have a tabernacle and a kitchen close to it, you know. And from that kitchen, we generate probably about 15 different products, from coconut, from noni, from honey, from all different type of things. So and then we have the farm, of course, and then we do have a soap maker in the space, almost like a family business, you know. One of our empresses here, her way to preserve the culture is through making things from the culture, so people can see that the things in their backyard have a lot of use. Jamaica is just being overrun by bad development, you know. So we're losing all our herbs. And that was the reason why we actually created a visitors space for global people, to educate people about the herbs, educate Jamaicans about how they can preserve and protect and promote the herbs to their sustainability. I remember one day we came on national TV just showing people the things that we offered in the village, you know, and it was just very natural things. And a young man saw me on the street and he said, boy, you know, the village is a con, because everything you have in your backyard, that is what you're showing the people, you know. It's in every backyard in Jamaica, you know. And you know, then it struck me that we don't know the value of what we have, our simplicity. You know, Shema Maka, nobody never see Shema Maka before, and it was just a big part of the excitement to just touch this plant and see the magic of it falling up and so on. So that's and you know, it's a beautiful. They use it all over the Caribbean for different reasons and purposes, and it's just an excellent herb. So that's the idea, you know, to preserve, to protect, and to promote the culture to its sustainability, following the footsteps of Emperor Haile King Selassie I, who brought tourism to Ethiopia, knowing that he could not depend on nations, but the ordinary people of the world, to show to them what Ethiopia represents to life and to humanity. So we have been continuing on that path, teaching the people and sharing with the people what it means for us to be Rastafari. So that's the essence of Rastafari Indigenous Village.
We give thanks for that overstanding and that inner sharing, first man. Let me ask you something. You know, you mentioned Search Me Heart, and Raymond just talked about getting some in 2017 and was so blessed. And I can't tell the last time I've seen it. I don't think I would recognize it, but my granny, right, Raymond's sister, would have definitely, that was something that we used. The Shemi Maka, my husband just found some the other day, and it's in a big pot out there, and every so often I go and I touch it, and just really just full joy, you know, just watching this plant close up, open up, close up. But are there any other herbs that are indigenous only to Jamaica, and are there any that maybe what's the word, at risk of, for lack of a better term, extinction? I
mean, so Search Me Heart, as far as I know, is indigenous and endemic to Jamaica. There are a lot of herbs that are indigenous to Jamaica. You know, well, I can't really remember all of them right now, but however, I think when the Spaniards came, there were a few things that were already here, and we still use them in medicine, like cassava. I think they say sweet potato was here too as well, and so on. So, but you know, all of the herbs are faced with extinction. Every single one of them are faced with extinction at the moment. You know, very close to us here, they're going to be put in a highway, you know, and it's going through uncharted territories, you know. So this idea of development that is taking place in the West here is a tyranny, you know. But we continue to do that work because we are hoping that the minute, right now the earth is so small, and anywhere we are as Rastafari, it has to be a preservation mission. Whether or not we in the cold, whether or not we in Africa, the ripple effects now, the planet is not that big again, you know. So it's really the earth rightful ruler mentality we're looking at right now, and for sure, every single herb we know is basically faced with extinction right now. There's no system around it. There's no structure to guide it, you know. And I mean, there's no, when NEPA comes around to look at properties for development, which is the National Environmental Planning Authority, they don't take, the herbs are not a part of the calculation, you know. It's you know, I remember they were doing a hotel at one time, and this was what actually got us into the tourism business, was because there was a place that we used to go and reap herbs, and the minute we got there one day, there was just a hoarding, you know, put up there, and we couldn't enter the space, and shepherd purse, and you know, a lot of herbs are just being in that space, and you know, it was right against the beach, so loaded with minerals. We found the difference, you know, and then it just gone, you know. So really and truly, I don't even think, because Jamaica is really a sneeze from America, the people don't really own what they have here, and you know, so it's just a matter now of doing this type of a work to be able to really go into places like Africa to show data, you know, of what is the possibility of naturality and the above ground gold that we have, you know, in the things that grow above the earth, and stop mining out the belly of our mother. You know, so that has been our conversation, really, you know, just to look above, you know, and that we can lift our irids to higher places instead of fossil fuel digging out the earth to get oil and removing the blood of our mother, you know, and try to use more biofuel and the sun and the water, all of these renewable energies and so on. So that has been the conversation for us here at Rastafari Indigenous Village. Our space is solar operated until we lost some of the batteries, but you know, that's where we're definitely going to, you know, now work with both things. So it's everything about the philosophy of Rastafari, which is the philosophy of the preservation of life that I promote here in the village. You know?
Isis, we give thanks for that word, first man, a deeper understanding. And so, you know, I'm going to pose this question to you, and then kind of round robin it. But climate change, as they say, right? And we're seeing the effects. And today is Earth Day, and we're paying homage to Mother Earth. What can the Rastafari community globally do to help combat some of the damage that we as individuals, we're all partaking in? What are some concrete, maybe tangible steps from your perspective, no matter where you are?
Well, I think standing on the foundation of our ancients, you know, I just hear my brethren Keith, my brethren, I know I should have give the a call forward, but sorry about that, you know, but speak about his father, you know. And I remember really and truly, you know, Rastafari being declared by one of my brethren as the voice of all living things, you know. And I think what our biggest problem has been is that we have been the voice of the land without any land, you know. So our landlessness has really, there is no Rastafari space that has really been developed around an ecosystem where our relationship with the land and so on can be intact for generations. And I think that's one of the things that we would have to internally fix. However, the message and the philosophy, I remember the first time I went into the mountain to meet who I consider to be one of the indigenous fathers, RasTa. He's that Rastafari that come in the show Rockers. I remember being in there with him, you know, and first time this man go in a jungle and them thing, they go see a deep relationship with a Rasta man, you know. When me looking up, I see this rat, you know. run across the room, you know. And I said, yeah, as a young man, I'm afraid of rat. Me personally, I have a rat fear, definitely. I see the rat running about you, me in the presence of ancient and me seem so calm. I not to move, but me know some if I move, you know. And then I just hear him not look up or nothing, then I just hear him say, I'm all right, man. It's a theme food over there, son. I stay right, son. Him coexist, you know, him coexist with it. And from them time, then people start look on nature different, you know, and really and truly start try our best to have deeper connection with life, you know. And I think the totality of the message that Rastafari speak in terms of our food, you know, we don't eat anything. If we approach something and it run away from us, is not something to eat. You know, the fact that we really and truly try our best to preach peace and love and unity between all people, state of mind. But I think the strongest power that we have right now that can save the planet if we continue to listen to our voice is ganja. I'm seeing it clear that, you know, the other day I was making a presentation to show that 15 of the 17 goals that are set out by the United Nations for their 2030 vision, ganja can affect every single one of them. You know, whether it be clean soil, whether it be removing carbon emissions from the environment, whether it be restorating of our waters, whether it be stemming poverty on the planet, whether it be using biomass to make plastic. We have been holding the healing of the nation. And as a result of that, I'm very, very sure that, you know, if we put our efforts behind the philosophy of Rastafari, if we put our efforts behind the healing of the nation, which is the ganja, we are at the front of that discussion comfortably.
Mm. Solid, solid, solid. We give thanks for that, first man. Now, Baba Pearson, you mentioned a 4-season program. Does that speak to assisting with climate change and holistic living?
I can answer that. I can also elaborate and from my experience with Rastafarian and Rastafarianism and what I was told and experienced with the brothers that started the movement 70, 80 years ago. They were actually doing the works of protecting the ecosystem. They weren't actually creating any carbon footprints, as we call it today. They were not destroying the ecosystem. They was not destroying the land. They wasn't using any fertilizers. And so it was also what you call a religious thing, at the same time get me from the Western ideology, Western dogma and religion. And they were also eating from the land. They were eating from the land. They start producing from the land, arts and craft and all kinds of awesome things. And but today, 2021, there's a difference from when the movement first started to now on how people are consuming, because that lifestyle lends to people not having arthritis and diabetes and high blood pressure, living in a holistic and simple lifestyle. And so today, lots of brethren and sisters in Rastafari, they're getting diabetes and high blood pressure and all kinds of ailments. The government call it underlying issues and compromise issues. So that's across the board. So I think it's behooving upon the people to start really seriously sitting and think about the mental diet and how they see themselves and what they're consuming on a daily basis mentally before they can put it in their mouth physically. And so these are the things that is eventually causing them to be in the category of compromise and underlying issues, call it CNCDs and CDs. And so, like I said earlier, the World Health Organization, PAHO, American CDC, European CDC, and Pan American Health Organization, they're all talking about these things, and our people have to open up their hearts and their minds and listen. And if they truly want to stay here and live here in a more holistic and natural lifestyle, they should really think about the original ways that Rastafari was prepping food, especially out of Jamaica, and then out to Trinidad and Guyana and Jamaica and Leeward, Windward Islands, Virgin Islands, and the movement started to travel all throughout the islands. And people was eating more natural, more holistic, more everything from the earth, much fresh, no salt, no sugar, and all those types of things. And so it's something that we have to look into and talk more about it, because for lack of knowledge, our people are getting sick and they're dying. And the project that we started about 5 years ago, eating in the, we're dealing with primarily the northern hemisphere. We are also dealing with the southern hemisphere, primarily we're dealing with the northern hemisphere because we're here. And a lot of people leave the different islands and different parts of the world and different ecosystems and come to North America. And then the way they were eating back in their own home countries or islands, what happened is that they switch up. And the switch up started over there in the 40s also, but it got exponentially worse over here. And we start eating out. The food is more chemically laced, processed. The food is denatured, the earth is denatured, and so our people are not getting any supplements. So they're eating a lot of food that is causing a lot of havoc that the society, the petrochemical companies and the pharma, these companies, what they've done is destroy the ecosystem. And we're eating these food that they produce that is destroying the ecosystem, the rivers, the lakes, the pesticides, the herbicide, the cow manure, a lot of ammonia and stuff like that is creating a lot of havoc and it's destroying the rivers and the lakes. The Audubon Society say every river, every lake in America is polluted. And so now they have us drinking water from out of bottles. And it's a whole mind game all the time with our people. And so for those that have the knowledge will change, but those that don't have the knowledge will perish. And so that's very important that if people want to have these types of topics and these programs, they also have to take the information that was left for us by Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and Dr. Davidson and Dr. Ando and these brothers that went and study the fauna and the flora throughout the world, and they know what's best in terms of what's in our environment, in terms of the ecosystem that we came from and the ecosystem we're living in. So this ecosystem provides us with certain types of food between the spring and the summer. They're more associated with each other, but the specific types of food are produced in this ecosystem. And these ecosystems that produce these foods every 3 months, and you're going into the summer and then into the autumn and into the winter. And our organs and glandular systems are connected to the chakra systems that is also associated with the different climatic conditions and seasonal changes. Like for instance, the springtime is your gallbladder and your liver. And so when you look around New York and Pennsylvania, Virginia, and all those places, and Chicago, Illinois, and those places, you get a whole lot of fresh dandelion growing that they call weed that is very good for your liver. And then you also get a whole lot of red raspberry and white raspberry growing. It's also good for fibroids. It's good for cleaning out the blood and stuff. It just grows wild all over the place. And so they call it weed and whatever else they call it. But some people know of these things, some people do not. And then also you get the border, which is also available. It's lots of it is up there, up north. And so it also works with the blood and things of that nature. And so when the spring comes, your body is going through a process. You're preparing the gallbladder to function more optimally. You're preparing the liver to function more optimally. So when the summer comes, you're supposed to be eat the fruits in the summertime. So the spring primarily deals with berries, primarily berries, things that are all year long. Perennial is like lemons and limes and oranges and grapefruits and papayas and pineapple. But the raspberry, strawberry, and blueberry, we should not be eating them in the summer, in the autumn, or in the winter, just only in the spring only. And they all can be mixed and matched with things like sea moss, some people call Irish moss, and gum arabic, acacia gum, and things like chia seeds and flax seeds and things of that nature. And so we can elaborate a lot on all of that, a lot more, because there's a lot of beautiful information. But what I do know is that every time the season comes, like the heart is coming and then the intestines in the heart, and so in the summertime. And so that means that we should take it easy, take it light, and do things that are more in harmony with that type of energy. The weather is very hot. And so we have to eat more cooling foods. Food, you get a lot of mangoes in that time. You get a lot of peaches and plums. You get all the melons. You're supposed to eat the melons by themselves, at least for 2-3 hours. After you finish eating them, you don't eat anything else. And those would cool you down also. And also would help men and women also to detox those organs and glandular systems every 3 months. So if you start eating within the season, and you'll be detoxing your organs and glands by the time the end of the 12 months, which is 4 seasons divided by 3 is 12, 4 3 is 12. you'll be detoxing and taking care of all your organs and glandular system without even thinking or like, hey, I'm just eating this food, but no, it's taking care of your organs and glandular systems. Every 3 months, different organs, different glandular system being taken care of, and your cells are proliferating, and you can feel better and better about what it is that you have to do. And it has a direct correlation to the what you want to call it, climate change, the ecosystem, pollutions and things of that nature, because what's also outside is inside. So everything starts within ourselves before it becomes outside of us. So we have to think in terms of we cater to the inner beauty. It's all about the inner beauty. If you don't take care and love yourself from within, you cannot love yourself from without, because you're going to run and buy something that is not good for your organ and glandular system in the summertime instead of drinking your coconut water and eating your melons and stuff like that, you know, and drinking. Summertime is good for like Marby too. Marby is good for summertime. Lemonade is good for summertime. And in the wintertime, you need things that are warmer, like your kidneys associated with the winter, and you need a lot of like amaranth. It's from Callaloo, but they call it amaranth. The seed is very good for your female and male sexual organs and stuff like that. And it's also good, rich in amino acids and protein and vitamins and minerals. So the amaranth as a seed, you can boil it and make a porridge with it, and you can use it primarily in the winter time. And also in the springtime, you can do a lot of cleansing. Lemons, limes, all those types of things are very good in the springtime, but you can also use some of them in the summer. But in the summer, you want to primarily eat a whole lot of mangoes, 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 a lot of cherries, and a lot of nectarines, plums, and like I said, melons. And so like I was saying, that it's a direct correlation between all the seasons and the ecosystem. And they're more organic, plant more your own food, grow more of your own food, buy the heirloom seeds. Do not buy the regular organic seeds, because the seeds has to be original seeds, and the food don't have to be organic. The earth has to be organic. The earth has to be revitalized and has the necessary mineral content in the soil before the plant can take it up with the root. And so, yes, it's a direct correlation to how we eat, how we think, affects our ecosystem and the climate.
Give thanks for that. The Four Seasons program, and Baba Pearson has already put, did you put your, yes, he put his information in the chat. So if you're interested in learning more, please visit. So I know I said I was going to round robin, but I'm going to pause here. I think that's a very good segue to introducing Mel's Tree Eats and a cooking demonstration.
Okay, thanks for that. Unjudged and Baptist to everyone.
And so we give thanks for that. That was it, Wida?
Yeah, man, that was it.
Okay. And what was that we were making? I'm so sorry. I missed the first caption.
Fruity Loopies.
Okay. We give thanks for Mel's Tree Eats. So they're all natural or they're all vegetarian, vegan? treats,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
addition to edibles, will infuse ganja.
Mhm.
Is we give thanks for that. Okay, so first of all, before we move on to the next part, and we're gonna wind down in about 10 or so minutes, so I'm encouraging ones to put your questions in the chat. I just want to say greetings and blessings and love, love, love to Raymond, Uncle Raymond. Let's see who else is here. Ruth, we've seen you again, so we give thanks for coming. Your Highness, salute. We give thanks for your presence. Rasta daughter, Sister Penny, hail up, hail up, hail up, hail up. Andrew McNeil, it's a long time since I've seen the eye, but it's good to at least see your name on the Zoom. Sister Sharika, blessings and welcome. Mummy Monica McDowell, thank you so much for forwarding tonight. We really appreciate it. Love, 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 love. Mark Blaze of Glue FM, we give thanks. We saw you put your information in the chat. Once, follow Glue FM. If you're an artist, please link up with Mark. He's always looking for content and good music to share around the world on his various platforms. I simulcast on Glue FM, as well as Wida does too. So we give thanks. Mark and Lisa Blaze are strong media partners of ours, and we always give thanks for their support. Sister Isla Benjamin, greetings, 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 artist, as well as educator, strong Rasta woman. We just give thanks for your presence. Sister Sandra, love, 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 love. Welcome, welcome. Another Islaful sister here, strong personality, blessings, blessings, blessings. We just give thanks for your presence. I a gift. Greetings, greetings, greetings. It is always a pleasure to see the eye. And Raskwasi Bonsu are my royal co-host on ARC in Action podcast, as well as the convener of ARC, the Association of Rastafari Creatives, and the founder of the Jamaica Music Conference. Blessings and welcome. Sirius Nubian, aka Abidan, my other brother from another mother. It is always a pleasure to have the eye in the house. And Sister Vanessa, greetings, 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 and welcome. We have a beautiful full house of lots of family in here tonight, and we give thanks for that. So let's reason a little bit more. We were talking about foods and medicine being your food and herbs being the healing of the nation. But as our time winds down, I want to talk a little bit more about ganja. Because this is Rasta Reggae and resistance, but I want to talk about it from two perspectives. One, so decriminalization of ganja, particularly as we see, well, I want to focus on what's going on in Jamaica with this for now. So I'm going to ask Doms to just talk to us a little bit about what's going on. Is it politics or politics? Is it progress? What's your perspective on the decriminalization of ganja, and share with us what the laws are saying now.
All right, so right now, ganja is decriminalized for personal possession of up to 2 ounces or less. Anything over that is a fine. The industry has opened up for medicinal, scientific, therapeutic, retail, and sacramental use. I think one of the biggest points of concern right now is the fact that sacramental use does not offer any commercial option. And so basically, with a sacramental permit, you can cultivate ganja, but you can't sell it. And so, it's kind of a slap in the face when you consider the fact that on the other side, you can get a retail license where you pay a certain amount of money and they get a license and you can sell, and trade. And I think that has been one of the biggest missteps in how the law has been written in the country. Separate and apart from that, there is development in the industry, but it's just that it's not as inclusive as it should be at this particular point in time. I think there is also need to be some reviews around the laws, from just decriminalization to full legalization. Just today I saw an article where a man got locked up for a pound of ganja. Police raid him house and find a pound on top of him fridge and lock him up. And this was like yesterday or 2 days ago. In 2021, the law say you can grow 5 plants on your personal property, but 5 plants can harvest more than a pound. So, it's like the law telling me that you can grow ganja at your own yard, or as a Rasta, you can grow your own plot of ganja with a permit, but you can't sell it. But then at the same time, you know, you have a phone at your yard and a policeman might want trouble you for it. There is a lot of economic value with ganja right now, or economic potential rather. And I think the government needs to have a greater understanding of what that potential is and create some more inclusive options so people can get more involved because as first one pointed out, you know, the possibilities and the types of products, um, the types of industries and sub-industries that can be created and centered and focused around ganja from, you know, the cultivation to processing value-added products, the supplementary products that have to go with it in terms of creating and developing organic nutrients, the skill set around learning the science behind extraction and product development. Um, there are a number of possibilities where it can create a significant change for the country and people of the land. Um, as it relates to that, there are commercial activities happening, there is export happening to some extent, but it is still not yet at a level where the country is benefiting from it, you know,
Mm. So
significant way.
are we seeing and Keith, I know you raised your hand and you want to jump in on this. I just want to ask one more question and maybe you'll also weigh in on this. Are we seeing the gentrification of ganja now? Is that what we're seeing?
I don't know if you'd call it gentrification, but the reality is that, you know, we have something like 30 other retail licenses issued in the island right now. And the thing about that, yes, it means that there's, you know, a certain level of demand. Yes, it means that more people are getting involved, although some of those 38 licenses are more than one outlet per person. But what you see happening is that the prices, you know, there is still a reality where the average man can walk into any dispensary and buy a stick. You know, a gram is selling, a gram of ganja is selling for as high as about 1800 or 2,000 Jamaican dollars per gram in some places as dispensaries. And the reality of that is that that automatically exclude a number of potential people who would like to enjoy quality herb from being able to access it in a
Wow.
particular way.
Isis. So Rita said, robbery. Keith, you want to jump in here, please? You gotta, yes.
Yeah. To add to what Dominic said, I want to ask a question first and foremost. Probably Dominic can probably give me. There's a lot of dispensers here who is actually registered to sell medicinal ganja or ganja for medicinal purposes, right? Which one of the dispensers are actually selling ganja for medicinal purposes as opposed to recreational? Because based on my observation, they're all selling it for recreational purposes as opposed to medicinal. Based on what I have seen and my observation, the act of saying that there is a consultation for a doctor there, that is, in my opinion, a joke. At the end of the day, in some case, your doctor is an iPod. So, I mean, therein like one big problem right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, the way in which the law was written, it's for medicinal or therapeutic use. Now, how you define therapy? For me, therapy can be sitting down at me and burn a stick or steam a cup of ganja, right? There is no standard definition for therapy and how ganja can be used as a therapeutic method of relief, right? And so even on the medicinal side, therapy is a part of medicine. It is a part of health and wellness. So within that, you have to take into consideration that in some ways the law was written in a way to make sure there are some gray areas. So if people are understanding of it, then you can use it to their advantage. And in the same way, the people who are regulating the industry, right, um, have misinterpreted some elements of how things are being done on the retail side. Because the reality of it is, what is medicinal ganja? What does that look like? Is it the quality of the ganja? Is it how the ganja is grown? Is it that it has to be a value added product? Because when you think about it, ganja in its true and rawest form can be used as medicine. If you drink it as tea from the buds or the leaves, you're getting medicinal value. If you put it in the steamers and you're extracting it as vapor, you're getting medicinal value. If you smoke it, you get some amount of medicinal value, but it's just that it comes with the risk of combustion and smoke, which is harmful to your lungs, right? Because they're converting it into carcinogens. So there's that risk with smoking. If you want to consume it as edible, there is medicinal value. But at the same time, people consider some of those things as recreational. But recreation or use of ganja was really a term that was brought about by those who were against ganja, because it was a way to describe ganja as not having any significant purpose. Recreation is fun, is not a priority. That is how they treat it. So really and truly, we don't need to get concerned with medicinal versus recreational. What we need to get concerned with is allowing us to be able to use ganja in whatever means that have value, and stop trying to put it in a bracket. Open it up so we can benefit from all of its glory and potential.
Well said, and that's true. No, probably without you realizing what you just basically did was kind of explain the monopoly of the whole ganja industry to an extent. But if the question that I asked that question for a reason, and based on what you just said, you basically just explained the idea or a perspective of the whole monopoly. Because in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure it's not just my opinion here, from the inception or from the change in the drug amendment act in 2015, this whole industry is a game. It has not, in my opinion, been taken seriously. Right? There has been no serious progressive thought into the industry. For example, whereas a research and development as it regards to ganja moving forward, right? Even things like those, we should have at least have a way forward as it regards to ganja. But a person came to Jamaica, investing in Jamaica, and the reason why they invested in Jamaica and Jamaica ganja is because of the quality of Jamaica's ganja, and we're situated, right? We're situated perfectly to grow the best natural organic ganja with no added chemicals or anything like that. Why we're not really making use of it to an extent? The soul system, is basically here to bottleneck and keep it flowing in one direction. In my opinion, that's somewhat of a personal thought of mine. Right?
I'm sorry, Keith. I don't mean to cut you, but somebody has some serious background stuff going on. So if you are on, I'm going to ask ones if you all can mute. If you're not speaking, we give thanks. Isis, go ahead, Keith. You were talking about the industry.
Right. So even for me, this whole the so-called ticketing system for if you're caught with ganja of certain amount. I have actually been on the opposite end of that system, and it is nothing like they said it should be, because one, um, they took me to the station saying that I possess X amount of ganja. And I looked at them and I said, I'm pretty sure that if you're supposed to put this on the scale, it doesn't reach 2 ounces. I can guarantee that, right? I realized that they started playing this alternative thing where, hey, Mr. This and Mr. This. So I didn't say anything. They put on their whatever they're doing and they brought me to the station. So when I'm at the station, I'm saying, based on what I know, I thought that if you were caught with less than 2 ounces of ganja, there is no charge or whatever. They're saying no, not go so. And I say system go this. I say, so what happened to the Drug Amendment Act? When I said that, everybody I look for me, everyone in the station was looking at me like, what I thought was. So in my experience, knowledge, as regards to what is happening needs to be transferred everywhere. Education, I see since recently I'm seeing where a lot of educational activities or processes has been going out there in light of educating the general public as regards to ganja. However, there's still a lot more that we can do or that we should be doing as regards to that. A lot of persons still have the perspective that if you even smell ganja, you go mad and it is nothing good for you, and not seeing that medicinally or in the realm of medicine, a lot of the medicinal stuff that they're doing now has a lot of ganja property. The ganja plant alone has over 400 different chemical compounds that we know, right? That's a complete medicinal lab in its entirety. So that's another thing that persons just need to know.
Give thanks for that enlightenment. All right, our time is winding down, but we have another one of our panelists. Black Hero is in the house, and we know that he is the man who's saying Kush and Schweppes, Get High, Mr. Weedman, and many, many more. So, Hero, we give thanks for you forwarding for this reasoning, and we give thanks to Abaddon, Sirius Nubian, for facilitating this. And just want to ask, because we are talking about Rasta Reggae and resistance, where the ganja music there? Is ganja music truly still created? And, you know, responsible uses for ganja, does Rasta have a role in that?
Blessings to everyone. Just give thanks for being here. In regards to ganja music and its relevance and if it's still being produced, definitely it is. You know, every 420 that's evident, there's almost 1,000 ganja tunes to pick from. So I feel like it's still being made. For me, especially, I have a lot of ganja tunes. My first initial set of songs were ganja music. I have a whole ganja EP. So for me, I was not trying to make a lot of ganja music, no. But, you know, we still have to, we still do, but we haven't put out any as yet, just to kind of balance the catalog. So it's like, from me, that's what I've been doing. But yeah, ganja music is still there and it's still relevant. And it's still I look at ganja music like there has to be some kind of word sound power that leads the young cannabis users, you know, into that lifestyle, to show them how to use the herb, to show them that it's not something to be abused. It's, you know, it's sacramental. It's for healing purposes. It's for Iron meditation. It's good for anxiety. I feel like that's the type of music, ganja music, I want to make now. And that should be made forward, to kind of just lead people into this lifestyle. Everybody has smoke now, everybody's consuming herb, you know, thanks to the laws, a lot of people do follow the government. So the law being freed up, even my cousins that smoke, everybody consume herb. So it's not a thing. So we need to be very conscious about what we're saying in these songs so as not to enable reckless behavior, isn't it?
Isis. Good word from Black Hero. All right, so are there any questions for our panelists? If you have a quick question, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. If not, we are going to go ahead and seal up this staging of Rasta, Reggae, and Resistance. And we give thanks for First Man of the Rastafari Indigenous Village for forwarding, Keith for being here early and staying late. Baba Pearson, our elder, we give thanks for your strength and your words of wisdom, as well as the insight on the four-season program. Black Hero, we give thanks for your forwarding and always good, great, edifying music from you. Salute, salute, salute. Dominic McDowell, give thanks for all of your overstanding and insight on the laws and the benefits. Mel of Mel's Tree Eats. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that cooking demonstration. And Sister Penny asked for that video and the recipe. So we will work on getting that to you, Sister Penny. I will ask Wida to make sure that we get that done. And so I don't see any.
When we can do, we can run it again before we come off the air.
As is.
Because it real simple is like 3 steps on the recipe of the first slide. So me just pause it so she can write down the recipe, and then after that she have it.
Give thanks. All right, so
Yeah,
we are going to seal up with a special presentation by Black Hero.
All right, so I've been put on the spot. I've been put to like present something a cappella wise. So I feel like even though it's Herb, I just want to say something. That's a special song, just so everybody. It's like it's rough times, it's tough times. A song to go along with the Herb, isn't it? Oh, I say, feet don't fail me now. Oh, as I trot a long way, battles just begun. Far from one, but they got nowhere to run. Nowhere to run. When the ganja man go, when your army comes, I say, hey, I just me and the earth, early night the man. Yeah, man, whistle.
Isis, we give thanks, and we didn't want to put you on the spot, but we give thanks for that a cappella rendition because of things sweet, man. And yes, so I'm gonna just ask our co-host, the founder, the conceiver of RasTa, Reggae, and Resistance, Asafa Wiedemeyer, to just go do an official sealing of this edition, RasTa, Reggae, and Resistance. He herbs the healing of the nations. But first, before he does that, Fruity Loopies.
So Sister Penny, you ready?
If not, I'm gonna take a picture.
Yes, go through.
That are the ingredients. All right, we'll start it moving again. First step, mix the butter and the marshmallow and just on a low heat. Then mix in the Fruit Loops. And then after that, just put it to set and cool.
Give thanks to love it.
Yeah, man, and then you break it off and you just smell some to eat, Maya.
All right, bless us.
Give thanks for everyone that forwarded this evening. We are just very thankful for your time and your presence. And again, blessed love to all of the panelists for your insight, your wisdom, the knowledge that you all have provided. So Wida, please seal us up.
Yeah, man, give thanks to everyone for coming out, First, we give thanks for the patience of the people who were here early. We promise the items that Eventbrite will not be a part of the next RasTa, Reggae, and Resistance. just to make it easy for everyone to log in. Yeah, we don't like the confusion either. Yeah, man, just want to bless up all of the visitors, all the guests for coming out. Want to bless up my co-hosts and more take us out with the Rastafari Creed. Yeah, man, Prince and Princesses, shout out to Fiji. I and I, Ethiopian, stretch forth our hands and hearts to Jah. O Jah of Ethiopia, I own divine majesty, thy irids come to all, dwell in the paths of righteousness. Lead us. Help I and I to forgive here on earth as it is in holy Mount Zion. Teach I love and loyalty here on earth as it is in Zion. Endow I with thy wise mind, knowledge, and understanding to do thy will. Thy blessing to I, O Jah, that the humble be fed, the naked be clothed, the sick be nourished, the aged be protected, the infants cared for, and the illiterates be enlightened. Deliver I from my enemies so I may be fruitful all thy days. For when all I and I enemies are past and decayed in the depths of the earth, in the depths of the sea, or in the belly of a beast, O grant I a place in thy kingdom forever. O Most High, Kadamawe Haile Selassie, and I Tige Menenai, Jah Rastafari. Give thanks again, everyone. We will let you know when is the next Rasta Reggae and Resistance. Probably for International Reggae Day again, which would be the 1 year anniversary. And yeah, man, it's been a year. Give thanks for all our guests who have passed through so far. And yeah, man, bless up the Association of Rastafari Creatives for all the strength that they have given to Rasta Reggae and Resistance, you know. We do give thanks.
Blessed love, guidance, and protection to everyone in your forwarding, wherever you are going. Abundance and prosperity. Jah Rastafari.
Yeah, man, blessed Earth Day, everyone. And Ground Nation too. Yeah, man, blessed Ground Nation, because we still in the middle of Ground Nation, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah, man. All right. Keep on long enough now, so yeah, man. Blessings.
Give thanks. Bless it. For,
Yes, sir.
give thanks.
Look like Raymond a troublemaker and joker.
You leave my Uncle Raymond alone.
Yeah, man.
Uncle Raymond, you hear we're talking about you? It's all out of love, and you know it.
Yeah, man. Bless up yourself, Uncle Raymond.
You know, you've not met him, Wida?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, no, because I'm trying to think if no, but yeah, Raymond was with us for a while. He stayed with us for a couple months. So I assume everybody kind of know Uncle Raymond because he's in Tortola, and when he comes to Florida, he had spent a wonderful amount of time with us, and we just full joy. He's actually my father's uncle, so he is my grand uncle. Yeah.
See.
Yeah, more family. And Simone McDowell here hiding. All right. I'm going to leave now. We will reason.
Likewise. Yes, sir.
Isis.
Blessings.
Blessings.